am Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined today by Scott McMullin, who has received the 2017 Citizen of the Year for the City of San Carlos. Scott, welcome.
Thank you.
So, I mean, did you get like a scepter or a badge or something? But
wow, no, there's going to be a special dinner, and I'm really excited about that. It's a great honor to be nominated and then chosen for Citizen of the Year.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, it is humbling because there are so many worthy people in the city of San Carlos.
Well, I mean, we know that San Carlos is the city of good living.
That's right.
But it's also the city of giving back in community. I mean, if per capita, I bet there's more community hours being given back in San Carlos and probably other communities combined. I mean, I really have to congratulate not only the chamber, but also the council and the citizens itself for really figuring out how to mobilize and get involved in local issues and community-based organizations.
You stole my line.
Did I?
It's the city of good living. It's true, and I was going to say it's the city of good people.
Right.
It really is. I've been amazed since 2 or 3 years ago. I helped found Sequoia Village as a nonprofit that operates in San Carlos. And the idea so resonated with the population here, the idea of helping seniors age comfortably and safely in their own homes, that we have mobilized probably over 100 volunteers in the San Carlos area.
Right.
So it's exciting to see the city wanting to make their community better.
Right. And the fun full circle is that I interviewed you about 2 years ago when you were first starting Sequoia Village.
Right. Victoria Klein and I were here. It was fun
and we were
talking
talking about the need to find volunteers to help you create Sequoia Village.
Right.
So you're being honored for a multitude of different things in community service within San Carlos. But the one that is sort of close to my heart is Sequoia Village. So let's just give our viewers kind of a little bit of information about Sequoia Village, because then they'll really understand, as a volunteer and someone in the community receiving this award, why you are.
Right, okay. And I'm going to go back one step. The idea for me really got started because my church, Trinity Presbyterian Church, does a mission trip to Mexico each year. And we take about 30 or 40 high school students with us. And it's, for some of them, their first exposure to real poverty. And they get into a week of service where they are just into it and they see real life and they rave about it. And then they come back to San Carlos and right away they're in the fast track to school and sports and everything else. So I thought, isn't there a way to create service opportunities for these high school kids? So we did that, and then a friend of mine, Dave McClure, also at Trinity, said, Scott, you want to start a village? I said, what's a village? So he explained it to me, and it was so cool because it was expanding what we had started at our church to the whole city of San Carlos.
Right.
And the idea is enabling older adults to continue to live in their own homes by providing for them access to support services. Now, the volunteers that we mobilize do a lot of different things. Driving is probably the #1 need.
Right.
But home repairs, improving home safety, friendly visits, technology updates, helping people with their computers and smartphones and so on.
Right.
And then we have social events too. It's very important for older adults not to become isolated and feel that because they can't get around, they have to stay in their home. Getting them out to doing things, not just getting to the doctor, but getting to the senior center, getting to all kinds of appointments with friends, very important.
So again, if we backtrack 2 years ago when you started Sequoia Village and really mobilizing, the whole point of this is mobilizing volunteers to fill a need in your community. The population that you're trying to impact with Sequoia Village happens to be seniors aging in place, ensuring that they're not living this isolated life. But then also too, the flip side of that, and probably something that you're going to speak to as Citizen of the Year, giving people an opportunity to give back and feel great.
They love it.
Right?
The community that's incorporated between the volunteers and the members is outstanding.
Right. And so, I mean, we could talk all day long with San Carlos and other communities about tons of people that could be Citizen of the Year because we have such great work. But this was especially sort of heartfelt for you because it was something that you started and initiated through Trinity Church. But what are some of the other things that you've been able to be involved in that kind of give people the idea that volunteerism can be an hour, or it could be founding something like Sequoia Village. There's a whole big spectrum in there.
Well, there really is. And one of the great things about Sequoia Village and the whole mission is lots of other organizations and people resonate to it. Rotary Club, for example, of San Carlos that I'm a member of, they've done a number of service projects where they bring some of their volunteers to actually engage in the service to the seniors who are our village members.
Right.
So that's been great. About the same time as we were starting Sequoia Village, I saw that there was an opening on the Commission on Aging for San Mateo County, and it was a natural fit. And while it's turned out to be quite a bit of time commitment, I'm finding it's very worthwhile, and I encourage others who want to get involved in community activities and serve the senior population, take a look at what the Commission on Aging is doing, because there are lots of opportunities to get involved there.
Right, and lots of great information.
There really is,
right?
yeah.
So, I mean, when we say the Office of Aging, it doesn't mean that our aging starts at age 80. I mean, we have all sorts of folks that are in their 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and on up that are needing services and or information education at all spectrums of getting older and aging in place, which is getting harder and harder to do these days with housing. So I'm sure you're grappling with all those kinds
Housing
of issues
is really the biggest single issue now, the cost of housing. Transportation is another really big one.
Right.
And then, unfortunately, a growing awareness of elder abuse. And so that's an area that we really need to concentrate on.
Right. And you're involved with the San Carlos Chamber, and so I think people who are not as familiar with chambers and what they typically do, they always probably think of their chamber as sort of this business networking community. But the chamber in San Carlos, as many other chambers of commerce, go beyond the economic development or go beyond how do we provide networking opportunities for businesses to do business with each other, such as encouraging volunteerism and community and recognizing that as well.
Right. Yeah, it's networking for sure, and it really brings all aspects of the community together.
Right.
So yeah, it's been a delight working with the Chamber, and I'm, again, very honored to have been selected by them.
And I would imagine that it's a great recruiting ground for you to find volunteers for some of the Sequoia Village challenges.
It is, and I have to say that the City of San Carlos and Redwood City and Belmont and their respective community centers have just been great in partnering with us for creating activities and outlets for seniors.
So we're going to just talk for 1 second here. Sequoia Village now has a second location. So tell us a little bit about that.
Right. Well, we teamed up in 2016 with a group that was starting a village for San Mateo, Burlingame, Hillsborough.
Right.
And they call that Mid-Peninsula Village. Now, the two villages together are under an umbrella with our official legal name, and that is Villages of San Mateo County. And our vision, really, is that every community in the county ought to have access to village services.
To village services. And I love the idea because everyone sort of conjures up creating this village. So it's a place where we can all either go and help with services or we can all receive services with this concept of village. So, and I should correct myself, I sort of said that there's a second location. It's really not a location. What it is just a service area.
That's right.
So that you have people that you're accessing as volunteers from those two different communities.
Yeah, exactly right. It's a virtual community.
Right.
Yeah.
And that way too, it's nice to know that when you're volunteering for something that you can actually volunteer in the community in which you live or something very close to it. So we're not asking our folks to get on the freeway and travel great distances.
So we're recruiting volunteers constantly for the areas that we serve, whether it's San Mateo and North or San Carlos and Redwood City, Belmont. And that gives them an opportunity to connect with the elders in their own communities.
So while we're on the subject, how do people find out if they can be or they're interested in being a volunteer?
Webpage is a very good place to go. So it's villagesofsmc.org.
Pretty easy, and we'll make sure we put it up on the banner.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, you know, Scott, we have to close out our segment, but what I love about you as Citizen this year is the conversation was supposed to be a little bit about you and what inspired you to become and to be named Citizen of the Year and all of sort of your accomplishments. But of course, you turned it right around to be about Sequoia Village and all of the things that that you're doing and volunteering in the community. So I find that extremely wonderful about you.
Thank you, Dani. I appreciate it. And it really is. It's about the community.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that lots of viewers not only congratulate you as Citizen of the Year, but also take you up on that offer to become a volunteer with the villages.
We would welcome that.
All right. Well, thanks all of you for talking with us today on Penn Voice, and we'll see you next time.